legislation designed to reduce the number of positions in the government that require Senate confirmation. We should also ensure that the Senate's role is not eroded by unconfirmed federal czars in very significant positions which should be subject to advice and consent. That's what my amendment is about. That's what my amendment would correct. This amendment would ensure that any administration, not just this one, any administration, Republican, Democrat, other, is prevented from using so-called czars or similar positions to perform duties that are the responsibility of those positions subject to confirmation by prohibiting funding of those so-called czar positions. So specifically, the amendment would prohibit funding for these czar positions. The amendment does not unduly restrict presidential advisory staff. We all agree the president is entitled to direct advisors. Instead, it focuses on, quote, the head of any task force, council, policy office, or similar office established by or at the direction of the president, close quote. It's aimed squarely at positions created in order to circumvent the advice and consent role of the United States Senate. And unfortunately, Mr. President, that's exactly what has happened at greatly increasing frequency over the last several years. It also carves out of the prohibition and allows two things. Number one, any individuals who are serving in the position of assistant secretary or the equivalent that requires Senate confirmation, that situation is living by the normal, appropriate advice and consent requirement. And it also carves out the assistant to the President for National Security Affairs. And we include this carve-out simply to ensure that national security concerns are not impacted. As a result of these carefully crafted exemptions, my amendment would not remove the President's ability to have advisory staff. Keeps the focus on the intended targets and the real abuses. Czars created to circumvent the scrutiny of the Senate and of the advice and consent and the confirmation process. Under the current administration,